Yeah, how about you be on your back the whole game too, you punk?
Yeah, but you gon' feel it, Cooley. I'm telling you, you gon' feel it.
I told you keep that camera running, you might miss something.
We're going to be in your face and letting you know the real talk.
This is the NFL, which stands for not for long.
Out of the darkness that is baseball season, we are exploding off the launching pad here on the Not For Long show because football is back, and we are so glad to be out of the dungeon that we've lived in for the past 6 months.
Oh, man.
And we are here. We cannot be more pleased. Thank you so much for joining us here. Clint Schweitzer, Noah Groniger. Here we are, man. Football's upon us. We're here on the Not For Long show, our inaugural Not For Long show. But we didn't come alone, did we?
We did not. We brought a nuclear weapon to a knife fight. It's coming here every Thursday, every week. Our special correspondent, the one, the only, the best in this business today, Sean Salisbury.
Sean Smack Unfiltered going to be coming to our show every Thursday, and we're going to be bringing him on to talk a little AFC West and Kansas City Chiefs. But Noah, this thing is on. We are baseball's behind us. I know there's still like 100 games left and several playoff series, but you know what? We've left that all behind now, folks, haven't we?
I can only hope. I mean, there's only so many times I can turn on the TV and see people dancing in the seventh inning. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play.
Kissing rally mantises.
Oh, God.
Okay.
I could see Tom Brady doing that for sure. Just a rally mantis. Oh, we're here in the AFC Championship game. Right? Yes.
Pie in the face, Noah. Walk off. You know what? It doesn't matter because here, as Sean Salisbury's going to put it, if you don't like it hard hitting, you don't like it unfiltered, that's what we do here. We're going to, if you're like one of those fans that like to hear your team coddled and talked about with just reverence no matter what, not going to happen. And that goes for our own Kansas City Chiefs. We're in Kansas City. We're going to be bringing Sean on to talk about the Chiefs and the AFC West. And let's start there because we have a Super Bowl rematch in progress right now as this show airs.
Right now.
We're not going to have a victor for you because the show is going to be airing while you're watching it. But I'll tell you, this seems like a different Denver Broncos team to me. Out is Peyton Manning, gone is Brock Osweiler. Maybe they bungled that situation a little bit. This team does not have the makeup to me that it did a year ago, even though you return a lot of the starters from the number one defense in the league. I don't think that Denver is in that upper fourth of the AFC to me right now. Today, could change.
Yeah, it definitely could change. We've got to see one regular season snap out of Trevor Siemian before we can start making projections as far as he goes under center. People say he's mature. He's ready. He's ready to shine in this moment. But how can you say that after just watching him in practice and preseason? The real bullets aren't flying. The defense is the foxfire zones and blitzes coming off the edge, and he's got to be able to get the protection set and identify who's coming in the backer, the Mike backer. And
which is what Peyton Manning was able to do despite subpar numbers, 9 touchdowns, 17 picks.
Knowing his limitations,
Exactly.
Learning that. He didn't learn it throughout most of the season, especially that last Chiefs game when he threw 4 interceptions. They was talking about he tore his plantar fasciata and just having a horrible game that game and then being replaced by Brock Osweiler. They finally put Peyton back in. He had learned his limitations, got him in and out of plays, got him out of passing plays, which you never thought you'd see out of Peyton Manning. He'd check into running plays, burn clock. He knew what he could do, what he couldn't do, and that just as much as the defense. Peyton Manning finally learning his limitations last season helped catapult them to the Super Bowl championship.
Well, let's talk about the Chiefs because this team in Kansas City has been building. This is year 4 of the Andy Reid and Alex Smith era here in Kansas City. We were there. We sat there, not only in Houston at NRG Stadium, but in Foxborough the very next week. Chiefs win their first playoff game since '94 in Houston. We go to Foxborough. We have to slink out in the fourth quarter.
Using the Saved by the Bell scheme, you pretend to go to the bathroom, and then I'll follow, and then you follow.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. For fear of just being absolutely reamed by these fans, It didn't help because we took it on the chin. And the Chiefs, it was hard to look forward to this season after that because we had a long flight back to Kansas City from Boston. I believe, it was 4 a.m., something like that.
Walking in the snow back to our car, 2 feet of snow.
Okay, so it was hard to look forward to this. It was hard to look forward to 2016. Now, this Chiefs team's dealing with some injuries. Justin Houston, we don't know what his status is going to be. He's on the PUP list. I think he's out at least till week 10. You got Tom Bahali, your other outside pass rusher, nicked up. I don't know where he's at right now.
Just a couple days ago, him and Jamal Charles were limited in practice, limited participation. So we've heard Jamal Charles probably won't play in this game against the Chargers. Tamba Ali should play, but what are we going to...
How effective?
Exactly. What are we going to get from him?
What are you going to get from him at 33 years old?
I'd rather have him out there than Frank Zombo and D. Ford, so I'll take a 2% Tamba Ali over 100% Zombo and Ford.
Even with that, we've mentioned the lack of a second corner after losing Sean Smith as well.
Phillip Gaines looks to fill that role, but coming off an ACL injury, even if you thought he was ready for that role, is he going to be 100%? Is he going to be ready? I mean, we need them to be okay, but if they are atrocious... then that really puts a kink in things, and we don't know how this season's going to shake out.
Well, let me ask you this: is this Chiefs team ready to be considered one of the best teams in the AFC heading into the season? They got a week 1 matchup with San Diego, not going to be a walk in the park, I don't think. Week 2, you go at Houston. We've made a habit of that, by the way, the last couple seasons. But is this team ready to be mentioned up there? You got Brady out for 4 games. Pittsburgh really only makes the playoffs every other year. They made it last year, so I still like what they have offensively in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
so
I still love the Steelers.
Where are the
Antonio
Chiefs
Brown.
at in this AFC power ranking situation?
I mean, you look at the Patriots and you think, oh, well, they're going to fall off. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, we don't know what to expect out of him, just like we don't know with Trevor Siemian and the Broncos. But after four games, Brady's going to get a warm-up game against those Browns, and he's going to be ready to roll. The rest of the season, I expect them to be the top team in the AFC. Even if they do go 0-4, I still expect them to be right there at the end, fighting with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are my second team in the AFC. And then I've got the Chiefs at third. Yes, we don't know about that corner situation. We don't know if Justin Houston's ever going to come back this season. So it could be D. Ford all season. Hopefully he can develop and get a few sacks, and we can hold that position down, which is what we're going to need to do at the corner position. The offense, I expect to be much improved. I mean, you've got Chris Connolly. I think he's ready to step into that number 2 role and really be a factor with his 6'3" size and frame, and he's got good speed on the edge, so on the outside. So I expect him to be improved and the third team in the AFC.
I think a lot of people are expecting a step backwards from this Chiefs defense that was in the top 10 overall a year ago.
Lose Sean Smith,
Well, right,
and Justin Houston.
The pass rush is a problem. The second corner, we know what that's going to be. But this Chiefs team was able to reel off, 10 straight victories, most of which were without Justin Houston. Okay,
all of which were without Jamal Charles.
Exactly. So I think that there's some hope there.
Yeah.
Frank Zombo and D. Ford, we talk very poorly of that tandem, but it held up at times. I mean, I think Ford had 3 sacks against the Chargers in a game a year ago. They
you expect something for
Sunday.
Ford. Zombo's just a special teamer. I don't know how he's the backup guy. It should be, I guess, Desmond Moses.
You got to hope Tamba Ali can give you something at that point.
Yeah.
And so this Chiefs defense, I tell you, why listen to us about this topic when we can go to the best in the business? We want to go ahead and bring on our special correspondent, our weekly correspondent. It's time for our favorite segment of the week. It is Sean Smack Unfiltered. Sean, we're talking Chiefs. We're talking AFC West. Take it away, man. What do you got for us this week?
Hey, Sean Salisbury here for my weekly unfiltered take on the Not For Long NFL show, and I'll do it all season long, right through the Super Bowl. And I got a good place to start, and we will not sit on the fence at any time during this season. I'm going to start with the Kansas City Chiefs, okay? I'm going to start with them because I think they're underrated and disrespected. Let's start with this opening game against the San Diego Chargers and a little bit on the West, the AFC West. The San Diego Chargers, how long is Phillip Rivers going to have to load people on his back and doggone carrying a team on his nuts so they hang down to his ankle for 16 more games? Melvin Gordon, when are you going to show up at running back and prove that you're worth a first-round pick? Joey Bosa, when are we going to get you involved after a long holdout? The defense, how are you going to replace the leadership of Eric Weddle? The stories go on and on and on. The one constant is Phillip Rivers. He'll stand in there and he'll let you knock his dick right in the dirt and he'll keep on coming at you. That's a great plus for the Chargers, but they weren't good last year. They're not going to be good this year, and they're going to end up in the cellar again. But they'll win a few games they're not supposed to win because of the respect that I think we all have for Phillip Rivers. But it isn't going to be this week against Kansas City and Arrowhead. I think as good a place, the best NFL college atmosphere in the NFL, if you know what I mean. You go to an SEC game, you feel like you're at a Kansas City Chiefs game. So that being said, it'll be difficult in that sea of red. But here's why I feel like the Kansas City Chiefs are disrespected. They're not real fancy. Maybe they're not sexy. Maybe people around the NFL and the national scope kind of look at them as like, well, they're not explosive on the perimeter. They don't score a lot of touchdowns and celebrations with their flashy wide receivers. Well, they don't have a lot of that. They got a great running back, and let's hope Jamal Charles is back full healthy this year, whenever that is, whether it's game one, a few snaps in game one, or when Andy Reid decides he's full go, because he is special. And how about Alex Smith? Is there a more underrated player in the league, let alone quarterback? All he does is win. And when we blink this year, they're going to be around 10, 11 wins, and the very good chance of winning the division, them or the Raiders, because I think the Broncos are coming back to the pile and coming back to the pack this week. Great defense, but how long can they carry their team? Because the biggest mistake they will have made this year was not signing Brock Osweiler, because you just can't keep winning without a quarterback. But back to Kansas City, Andy Reid, I think the one thing that they have to do, like they've had to do the last couple of years, is extend their offense. Even if you don't complete balls, you still have to take chances vertically down the field to give the underneath stuff more chance. I think the Kansas City Chiefs can do that. When all is said and done, they're going to be playing in January. The key is, will the big plays on offense allow them to extend in January? You keep an eye on them this year. I love this team, this franchise. I also love the way they go about their business as pros. And that defense, I'm going to tell you what, if you're faint of heart and you decide you're having one of those off days, don't blink, because the Kansas City Chiefs defense will knock you 6 weeks to Sunday. And should I say 6 days to Sunday and 6 weeks ahead in the calendar week. This is one hell of a football team that I'm not sure the national scope respects enough. I'll be back right here next week on the Not For Long NFL show, and we'll keep being unfiltered, and we'll keep grabbing you around the throat and punching you right in the face with some good football. We'll see you next week.
Good stuff from Sean, and he kind of seems like he was following my lead when we talked about the Broncos bungling this quarterback situation.
No.
Brock Osweiler on the roster heading into the offseason. He goes to Houston, a lot of money. Denver ends up where they are right now.
$18 million a year. You can see both sides. That's a lot for an unproven quarterback. Just a few games last season, a few starts, and then you're going into this season, $18 million a year for an unproven guy.
Sure.
You take your chance. You've identified Paxton Lynch as a guy. He's not ready yet, but you hope that in the future he's got the size of a Brock Osweiler. He's got the arm strength, but he's also got that mobility. So could be a rough start. Hopefully Paxton Lynch can get his feet settled, get into that playbook, and he can be the guy for the Broncos moving forward.
Well, the AFC has been kind of a topsy-turvy conference in the last couple of years. We talked about some of the teams we might see at the top. Someone's going to come in here and surprise. We talked about the Oakland Raiders team. A lot of people are picking to go to the playoffs immediately. We'll get to that in a second. Are the Raiders? Who are some other teams that could come up there looking for the wild card spots, looking to win a division? The Colts out of the AFC South. That's a division that's completely up in the air.
It is.
Are they back? Can they get back?
I don't know.
What
I
about
still
the
don't
Jets
think,
in the
yeah,
East?
The Jets in the East, definitely. But can Fitzpatrick regain the form he had last year and 31 touchdown passes from a Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's now 32, 33, I believe? Can you really expect that from him again? They do add Matt Forte in the backfield. The Jets do.
Killer defense.
Killer defense. Getting them the ball back in good field position. You've got Marshall, Decker on the outside, so maybe he can do it. Maybe he can. And I really do like the Jets. I don't think it's going to be enough, even with Brady out, to
win that division.
They could definitely be a wild card team. The Bengals take a step back, losing Mohamed Sanu and Marvin Jones. It's just A.J. Green, those running backs, and Andy Dalton there. So they do take a step back as far as the weapons on offense. But you mentioned the Colts. I don't think they have that offensive line. I still don't think they've addressed that, and you have to with Andrew Luck.
Well, who do you like in that division?
Paid $140 million.
Because
I do like Houston. They've got a good defense.
I don't. We saw what happened. We went to Houston.
I don't like them overall as the AFC, but you're talking about the AFC South. You gotta like somebody. You gotta like somebody. They're all.
You're right, and they won it last year with a 9-7 record. But we were there. We saw the way that team is built. It's built around J.J. Watt, a defensive end, a great defensive end. I'm telling you what, a defensive end doesn't win football games.
No.
You saw what Brian Hoyer did out there.
Yeah.
They had no running game. I mean, they have the makings of a good team. They did win the division a year ago. Andrew Luck was out with a spleen injury or whatever it was all year.
And you have DeAndre Hopkins on the outside. You've got Brock Osweiler. You bring in Lamar Miller from the Dolphins. He's a home run threat. What can you get out of him consistently every single down? That's my question with that selection at running back. When they had an Arian Foster, yes, he was injured and he moved on. They switched spots. Arian Foster now in Miami. But I do like Brock Osweiler at quarterback for them. He can get the ball downfield to DeAndre. Hopkins. They could bring in Will Fuller, the speedster out of Notre Dame. We forget that. That gives them another potent weapon on the other side. So I do like the Texans. I really like the Jaguars. I like Blake Bortles. I like those receivers on the outside. I don't think they're ready to win a division.
Like the Raiders. You said we both kind of agreed that the Raiders may be either an 8-8 type team.
Yeah.
They haven't
a lot
had
of firepower. They bring in Sean Smith from the Chiefs at corner. Those young players, Amari Cooper, Latavius Murray in the backfield, Derek Carr at quarterback. They are going to grow. They are going to get better. They're going to be something in the future. I just don't think they're ready right now.
Haven't had a winning season since 2002.
What about the Titans? I like what they did at running back. They've got DeMarco Murray. They've got Derrick Henry.
I like what Marcus Mariota brings. He's a dynamic playmaker, I think, for them.
It's going to be a fun division. People always say that.
It was last year, to be honest.
They're all not very good teams,
exactly.
but it'll be a mix-up. They'll all fight for the division lead.
Well,
who's going to get 8-8 first?
I'll tell you, let's get off this AFC thing for a minute because, Noah, what people are tuning in for, why everyone's watching, we promised it. We're going
Besides our good looks.
Well, 20 to 30 minutes breaking down the NFC East as we go to the NFC. That's why people tune in. That's why people watch. We're going to be talking
right here
Cowboys,
and only here.
The two deeps of every team analyzed. And, okay, that's enough NFC East. I'm done with that.
No, I really got to get into this. Victor Cruz is coming back for the Giants. I'm
Dak
done.
Prescott in the... Okay,
Ezekiel Elliott. Can Kirk Cousins repeat last season's performance?
Sam Bradford traded. Chase Daniel, Carson Wentz.
Who's it going to be? Is Carson Wentz ready?
Okay, enough NFC East. I'm done with that division.
I'm getting sick to my stomach. So.
We talk about this every year at this time, and you say, well, this is the Packers. The Packers are the best team in the NFC. And, they haven't been to the Super Bowl now since 2010.
Funny you mentioned the Packers. There's a svelte Eddie Lacy in the backfield. Now he's not overweight. Jordy Nelson comes back. Mike McCarthy brings back play calling duties, which for some reason he gave up. He's so great at that. He finally brings it back. I do look for the Packers to be one of the top teams in the NFC, maybe top 2, 3 right there with the Seahawks and Cardinals.
Well, the Seahawks may be jumping on that bandwagon of sitting
and
out
Panthers, of
for
course,
the national anthem. Well, yeah.
I hear they're good. I don't know.
Well, and we talk about these kind of topics very rarely because this is the Not For Long show. We are hard-hitting. We like to keep it moving. We don't like to jump on whatever's trending on Twitter. But we talk about the Seattle Seahawks might be joining this whole sitting out for the national anthem thing that started by Colin Kaepernick. And just for some perspective, I wanted to add what the national anthem means to me at a football game because I believe I've lived a pretty stress-free life, Noah. Because to me, the best days of my life have been spent inside football stadiums, enjoying the game I love, with people that I love. When I stand there, when I hear a national anthem, I don't necessarily automatically think about the men and women who have fought. My dad's was in Vietnam. I just think about what a privilege it is for me to be standing there, enjoying this day, that I live in a country where this is possible.
Yes.
That, to me, is where this whole thing has gone off, and a lot of people aren't talking about it, man. Because we stood there in New England, one of the biggest moments of our lives, Chiefs and Patriots playoff game, Scotty McCreery, an emotional national anthem. Tom Brady sitting there watching the same national anthem we are. You got stealth bombers flying overhead, and it was a stark reminder of how important this game is to this country and what a privilege it is to stand there as a fan and as a player.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head right there talking about where Colin Kaepernick went wrong. Okay, he's trying to make change. He's using the football as a platform. He's using game day in football as a platform.
Which is okay.
And that's all okay. That's great. To get your message out there and to really create change, you need to do things like that. But he just went about it the wrong way. Sitting during the national anthem. We're talking about one thing in America when there's so many great things and you're sitting during the national anthem. That's kind of just
one bastion of thing that should be sacred.
Yeah, exactly. There's other ways. You can wear an armband. You can talk about it in your press
You can lose
conference
your starting
before the
job
game,
to Blaine
after the game.
Gabbert.
Yeah, you can lose
that
your starting job
a statement?
to 8-27 quarterback in the NFL, and then you'll get a press conference there asking you, how'd you lose your job to this guy? We didn't even know he's still in the league.
There was a lot of change that happened, and it wasn't because of that sitting out. But I'll tell you,
I mean, people might look at us and be like, what are you guys talking about? Like loving the national anthem and showing respect to it when you guys are Chiefs fans and you say, and the home of the Chiefs.
Yeah, no, I get that, but it's one of those things you grow up with in Kansas City, the home of the Chiefs. Even on 9/11, I wanted the fans to say it because to me, when you don't say it, well, that just makes light of what the terrorists accomplished that day, which is we have to we're sitting here and don't say cheat, don't say cheat.
Yeah,
to
they
me,
did change something there.
Exactly.
With that Giants-Chiefs game, and everyone said home of the brave. And this is Arrowhead. We say home of the Chiefs, so something did change by the terrorists doing that.
Well, this is topics that we don't get into a lot. We're not politicians here. You'll never hear us telling you who to vote for, thank God. But, man, it's a privilege to be sitting here. It's a privilege to be talking about this wonderful game that we love and doing it right here on the Great American Sports Network. That's the website, guys. We always love the tweets.